rolling, guys.
Really? Wow. That is beautiful. Did you come with that yourself?
Hey, it's different from the last one in list.
I know. We were tired of that.
It's all good.
What did you retire?
Kyle likes to always say, and we're live.
Yeah, because we're live. I mean, it's not live streaming, but live recording, right?
Yeah, it's live as you're saying.
Yeah, we don't edit nothing. So
Yeah.
right, so
We don't edit. You mean everybody's been getting this raw and
Yeah.
filtered?
yeah,
I'm so
that's the
sorry.
case.
I'm so sorry for everybody out there. I knew this to be a fact, but I'm so apologetic. Well, we're back again with our first interviewee
Yeah.
returning round two after I guess almost a year. Was that November when you were out there? When was it?
No, I was out to you guys either late February or early March.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So
Yeah.
not a year, but however many months.
Close to
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's Josh.
Yeah.
You want to give
Yeah, you want to introduce yourself
Yeah.
again? Because a lot of things have
Introduction.
changed, right?
Yeah, lots changed.
I'm like, your name's Josh, right?
Yeah.
More than hanging out like these.
It's just like go listen to that other episode and kick it back.
Serendipity, what a great title.
Yeah, that was
episode.
great.
Yeah, that was fantastic. So I guess where do I start? Just like who I am as a person.
Yeah, well, the thing is that we have a very limited number of listeners, so whoever is listening now could be new, right? So maybe just introduce yourself.
Sure. So my name is Josh Robin. Professionally, I guess I run a company that I started with a friend where we do EV infrastructure planning, and I guess like the common term would be consulting, but like we're just like what we do is so much more than consulting.
Right.
We're really just like helping schools and dealerships and different parties and customers like navigate this new thing that's happening in the world.
Right.
I'm also the chair of the EV and Autonomous program at Hudson Valley Community College, which is where I went back to school to turn wrench on cars because I thought it would be romantic. It wasn't. No, it was not romantic at all. But it was great. I I'm so glad that I did that. Like what a great chapter of my life that's so unique to itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm helping them like get grants and figure out what to do with their curriculum. So like I have just this really interesting life now that wasn't like when I came and visited you guys in Phoenix close to a year ago, I like didn't know what the hell I was doing. It was like, we started this company, we're trying to figure out what we are, who we are, we're not really sure. My business partner was kind of like, I'm getting all these buku high dollar job offers. I'm going to take one.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, I guess I'm going to drive across the country and scream into the Grand Canyon. Like that's what you do.
Right.
And it just like serendipity, like it kept continuing. And when I came home from my trip, it was almost perfectly aligned with my business partner saying, I'm coming back, like, not just I'm coming back, but I'm coming back like stronger than ever.
Yeah.
And like everything just started taking off at that point.
Do you feel like part of that, it's easy to say things are coincidence or, maybe fate. Do you feel like you leaving and like taking that initiative upon yourself is also what actualized and allowed it to come to fruition? I know it's impossible to say, but I guess from your own personal kind of feeling, do you feel like that led to where you are today?
I can tell you that my having gone and had my journey, like the personal growth that gave me, allowed me to do this.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we talk about all the time here, as you know. It's like sometimes not sometimes, a lot of the time, to get anything out of life, you got to step into the unknown, right? Because that experience teaches you so much. It shows like where your deficits are and also where your skill sets are, your strengths, and like kind of how to round out yourself as a person better. And you learn so much more about not only yourself, but what you want in life because you get experience. You know?
Yeah.
Beforehand, you only have an idea about what this was going to look like. And now I'm sure it's entirely different than what you probably envisioned initially in your head.
Totally.
Yeah. But also still wonderful because it is different as well, I imagine.
Yeah. I think another thing that's like really like that holds water in that conversation is when you have things that you're not fulfilling on, or like there's like these wants or these desires where it's, you know, maybe it's not as profound as a regret, because regrets are like these horribly profound things, right? But like we have things in our space that just take up real estate that we don't know like how much they're affecting our day to day. And for me, like going on this trip was such a statement where it was, I've been talking about doing things for years of my life and I haven't been fulfilling upon them. Mm-hmm. And then going out and actually fulfilling upon it, where it's like, you know, like the Grand Canyon was so important to me.
Yeah.
And I got there, pitch black, the sun is starting to rise. Like I got to watch the sunrise over the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
And as I'm watching this happen, to be like, it was majestic. It's majestic as all hell. Like it's the Grand Canyon. It's big. It's amazing. But also like there's other canyons and you see other canyons before you get to the Grand Canyon. And at that point you're just like, yep, it's pretty grand.
Yeah.
But it like being there was more about accomplishing the thing that I kept saying I was going to accomplish but never did. Mm-hmm. And once that was resolved, mm-hmm. there was just this opening for like creation. And it was like, oh shit, like I leveled up. I did it. Mm-hmm. And that just like the trip just had a bunch of these moments where, oh, what is it? It's such a bad movie, but it's such a good scene. It's a Vin Diesel movie, so you know it's like cinematic.
Top notch.
Triple X.
Yeah. No, I think it was called Knockaround Guys. Where like
the comedy movie, right?
No, it was like a couple of mobsters like go to this small town to find money that was stolen. Doesn't matter. There's this like the only redeeming quality of this film is Vin Diesel's in this bar and he has to like get into a fist fight with like the toughest guy in the bar to like make a statement. And he gives this speech where he starts it off where it's something to the effect of like 500 fights. Like when I was a kid, I thought to be a tough guy, you had to be in 500 fights. Wow. So like I got started as a kid, you know, because like 500 fights, there's no fear. Your skin's like leather, like you're a tough guy. Mm-hmm. And he's like, after a while, the number didn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like doing the process of being in the fights. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you come to realize something. And he's like, by the time you hit that number, like, you are that guy.
Yeah.
You know, like it's the journey, not the destination.
Yeah, for sure. And it's actually funny because you were talking about the Grand Canyon. And that was met with a lot of challenges, even getting there, right? You were telling me about the coffee, you know, the blanket. So there was like roadblocks, even in that, you know, small distance you had to cover from Phoenix to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
So it's easy for maybe a listener can hear that like, oh, fucking the Grand Canyon. It was just the journey there. And then you have this pivotal moment, seeing it rise. But there's all those things that led up to it as well. And even the small fucking trials to enjoy that moment in its entirety, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in between those two was I went to, what is that? There's some park where like the rocks were like very red and it was very touristy and nice. Sedona. I went to Sedona and all the parking lots were totally full. I couldn't get in anywhere. I couldn't walk it. I went to Chipotle at Sedona.
Wow.
And I was just like, this is awful. Mm-hmm. And I had scoped out like campgrounds that I wanted to go to. So already like Sedona, that's a bust. I go to where I'm planning on camping, which is going to be this beautiful overlook and it's wonderful and I have firewood and this is great and it's completely snowed in. I can't get to it. And then now I'm in a parking lot in Flagstaff, a Walmart parking lot, just like chain smoking cigarettes, miserable and uncomfortable, talking to my sister on the phone. Like, I don't want to sleep in this parking lot. Like, this is like, I'm not supposed to be sleeping in a Walmart parking lot in my car. I'm supposed to be out in the wild. And then allowing myself like forgiveness for going into a hotel. And then in that hotel, meeting people that live in Albany.
Wow.
That were like, oh yeah, we're just traveling. And it's like I'm bopping, hanging out with those folks, and I had a great night's sleep. Like
Yeah.
you know, I remember so many intimate details of like my trip because I was so present for like the whole thing, you know. And there's
Important.
there's not many like periods of your life where you realize how present you are to them. A lot of it just you're going through the motions. Disappears.
For sure. I mean, when we talk about, the importance of journey, I mean, we've talked about this in our private settings a lot of times, but like when you really, give yourself this opportunity, right? Being in the moment, like you're saying, like we become more tuned into the small messages that we naturally or sometimes just ignore or unable to listen to, right? The small messages and things, kind of this nature where the universe kind of rewards you with, okay, you're doing the right things, look at this, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking that when you're talking about this whole entire journey, sometimes we have never validated certain abilities, right, about ourselves. Or sometimes you had it before, you just don't know when the last time was, you need to validate it again, right? And I think that journey that you made determined to do that, I guess that was like a way of, validating, right, your ability, like turning on that gear, like just moving forward from this point,
Yeah. Yeah. It was just good. It was just good in all the ways that it needed to be. And then it finalizing itself with me at a conference, like an electric vehicle truck conference in Indianapolis that I got into by reaching out to these companies with this like fake scenario to get in there. And I wasn't even trying to go to this thing. I was just like, I want some information. Like, let's have a Zoom call. And somebody was like, oh, like if you're going to be at this thing, I'll give you free tickets and I'll take you out to dinner. And it's like, what are the chances that I'm going to be driving across the country and that's going to time perfectly? Like I'm a day away from this thing. And that was so profoundly awesome because I got there and it dawned on me at one point. I was talking to somebody in a booth, and like the imposter syndrome of who I am and what I'm doing and this whole journey and this business and this company and all these things, it just clicked. And it was like, that's gone. That's gone. You're like, you have this.
Dude, that's freaking awesome.
It was wonderful. And then like being able to take that into like, like the backroom steak dinner kind of like situation where it's like, I'm so calm. I don't have any anxiety over this whatsoever. Like that was just fantastic. Really let me enjoy the cheesecake.
Yeah, man. It shows you that, it reveals your competency that you might have forgotten about. Kind of like what you were mentioning, Kai. You put yourself in these situations and then you're like, oh shit, I'm in this situation because I am competent and capable.
Yeah.
You do have experience. You have a past. Like, the reason you're out here is because you're somebody that's willing to go into the unknown, into these difficult situations, and you're rewarded for it, in the most interesting and fascinating ways.
Yeah.
And they're things you could never, ever imagine. Nobody could ever tell you, like, go travel across the country, and this is what's going to happen. This is why you're going to be thankful for it. They could tell you, like, an overarching kind of premise as to, like, what you may encounter, but the details, the nitty-gritty stuff, the devil's in the details. And all the joy lies in that, and the growth as well, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why it's always something we preach basically here. go get experience, go travel. What a
Yeah.
rare opportunity, because you're rewarded in ways you've never ever imagined.
Yeah.
And it helps you fucking solidify your path and, your passions, and at least get you closer to the next destination. May not be the end all destination, but one step at a time. It's so cliche, but it's so fucking true.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and then I really like to emphasize what you said earlier, that experience knowledge. Just do it, right? But at the same time, I think it's really important to be in the moment. Be present. Make sure that you're engaged with everything in that moment, right? Whether or not it's hard, whether or not it's easy, right? Then you can get more profound experiential knowledge rather than, when we say that, yeah, go travel. You can learn a lot, you can grow. It's so abstract, right? And then if you're not doing it without full presence, you may not gain anything, right? So
Yeah.
we always emphasize that, experiential knowledge is so important.
Yeah.
But also, I think it's important to what you said earlier, that being present, being in the moment.
Yeah, I think not having a destination lends itself to that. Having a rough idea. Because a lot of times you plan, say you're working a typical 9 to 5 or blah, blah, blah. You plan, I'm going to go here, I'm going to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
You're putting all your hopes and your satisfaction based on completing those events or seeing this thing. And then you lose the moment because it's all working towards that. Like, there's that old adage that goes, the man who enjoys walking will go further than the man who enjoys the destination.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah.
There's so much truth in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the what I thought that trip was going to produce, like the original intention and what my goal was to get out of it, was this very intimate and vulnerable thing. It was like, I'm going to go make myself uncomfortable to the point where I'm going to be emotionally lost, and I will just break myself down to the point where I only have myself to deal with. And I'm going to clear like my blockages that way. It had like this like almost like very feminine component to it. And what I got was the complete opposite of that, which is like I end my journey where it's like, you're a wolf, bro. You're a fucking wolf. And it was just like this thing where, yeah, the journey it's the journey. And I try to communicate this to so many people when they're expressing, like changing jobs or losing jobs or the end of a relationship or all the, like there's some negative thing happening in somebody's life. And I fucking congratulate them. I'm like, good for you.
Yeah.
Like, that's great. Like, you are experiencing life.
Yeah.
This is wonderful.
Yeah.
Like, there are people that don't get to do this. Like, your heart's broken, like, horribly, amazing. That's so good.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like, welcome to Growth Zone,
I mean,
Yeah.
what a rare opportunity where you have nothing but really up to go.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
Nietzsche famously wished upon his loved ones and friends like incredibly difficult situations, such as heartbreak, loss, true suffering. Because in those moments, you have a rare chance to capitalize upon them and experience life as it is and grow and kind of like build yourself. Like, what do you identify with? What speaks to you? Because there's a crispness and a quietness to the world, and that hurt or that lack of fulfillment in the way you thought you would get it, And there's just a rare moment where you are present, like you're forced to be present because there's an overwhelming emotional feeling consistently sitting with you in those difficult situations.
Yeah, for sure. And then also, I think there's another part of this experience is that there's a part of growth, right? Because you learn something from that experience, but also there's really unique feelings that you associate with that experience itself, like in the moment, right? Like, for example, like multi-pitch or something dangerous, let's just say, because that's a more exaggerated example. When you do something really dangerous, right, you have this, you can really replicate that kind of experience, right?
Right.
So whether or not there's growth, like you there's just something in there you feel, right? And that kind of lingers in your life, right? So that's why some people like go back to this thing over and over again, right? Because they just can't replicate in real life, right? So I just want to emphasize that there are experiences, of course, maybe there are some that you don't want to experience, but there are certain experiences that give you very unique feelings, emotions, that's real, right? Because you're experiencing that.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to kind of seek for that kind of experience too in advance, rather than just being passive and then just being brought into that experiences, right?
Absolutely. I think most people encounter the experience for the first time through passivity, right? Which, like, some argument may be that the reason it feels that way is because you were passive in the first place, And when you come out of it, what you gain is a deep appreciation for it. So it almost shifts kind of like the interpretation you have for any experience going forward. It doesn't seem necessarily in the like common zeitgeist of a bad experience. Like, it's an experience. There's negative aspects to it, of course, but it's not all negative. Like, there's still like good that can come from it. And you almost look forward to like, oh, I know it's going to be hard and it's going to be difficult, but oh my God, I can't wait to see what the good thing is that's coming from this.
Yeah.
And that's what a unique place to be in. And it's only unique in the sense that if you're open-minded to it, it's unique because most people are not open-minded to it.
Yeah.
They've already kind of mentally digging themselves into a hole about this is what this is going to be.
Yeah.
This is the worst thing in the world.
And also there are, I think, subjectively or objectively, there are bad experiences or just fucking shit, right? So, but you know what I feel from those kind of experiences, at least, fucking, I've done it. I said yes to it. You know what I mean? I have that willingness to do things that I'm uncomfortable with,
Yeah. I don't know. I battle with that, like there being distinctly like good and distinctly bad experiences. Because like I started this year with this baseline where it's like, I know that I'm going to be going outside of my comfort zone and doing these things that I've never done before. And I'm really putting myself at risk. And I need to protect myself. And so the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to be completely unattached to the outcome. Not necessarily, and the way that I originally articulated it was like, I'm just going to expect everything to fail, which is fine. But also, it's like, I'm not taking any of these actions connected to the outcome. I'm just doing them. I'm doing them to like push things forward, whatever that looks like. I don't know if like the thing that I want to occur is going to happen, and it doesn't have to, and that's fine because I'm just doing something anyway. And ideally that will create something new.
Right.
Which I think is really, really important. I think that we attach ourselves to outcomes and we have these expectations and we put our past into our future, and then we get to collude in our smallness and collaborate with fear. And then like you don't do things. And it's, the simplest thing of, like approaching somebody, that can be it, or sending in a resume, or, even looking at a web page, like, hey, why don't you go check that out? And like the person never checks it out. And it's like, just do it. But like I'd be hypocritical to say that I haven't been in that situation before.
I mean, hasn't, But I think what you're talking about, the expectation of outcome and putting all your eggs in that proverbial basket is that it's a kind of a disillusionment, or the way you're chopping up reality is to say this small singular space of reality and time is more valuable than the others. It's not any greater. It's like, if you put it in time sense, it's literally the same amount of time.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason you're saying it, this specific time is more valuable, when really every singular moment, individual thing can be that much, or have that much value based on your perspective, right?
Yeah.
And then most people, as we've all heard before, you arrive to the destination only to realize, oh, this isn't what I thought it was. This isn't making me happy. And you're like fucking back to square one. You're like digging for the next thing. Now, again, this is the problem with not loving the journey, but trying to love the destination. Like, it's really eluding yourself of reality in a lot of ways from where I sit.
Yeah. Super complicated, right? I mean,
Extremely.
we've just touched on like many different aspects of experience, right? But I think an important thing is like if I were to extract just one important thing, just go out, get some experience, right? Little bit. But I think we've, touched on so many important things. Yeah, great.
Yeah. Like for me, this, like the most profound thing in this conversation is the lollipop.
Instead of alcohol this time, lollipops.
It's the lollipops.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's no alcohol just because we just don't have it present here.
Yeah,
And then like,
think about it actually.
Don't thought about it. He thought,
really?
I thought about it.
you wanted to
okay.
snag this room, this
Yeah.
conference room.
It's like, oh, we can get some booze. It'll be
Yeah.
good. And then I wasn't really sure. But I'm very present to how I'm engaging with my lolly. And
Great. Yeah.
I have a feeling that everything that I'm trying to avoid aesthetically,
Oh, just
I am
sucking on that wall.
it's not going to look good. And I'm totally okay with that.
I'm excited.
Oh really? Do you guys think that that doesn't look good?
It's just.
I think a lot of us find it actually. I mean, obviously, the way you do it, how you look, there are many factors, right? But I
Yeah.
think if you do it right, it can look pretty attractive.
I don't think
Just
I'm doing it
similar
that
to
way right now.
cigarette, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people have a really bad idea of, oh my god, he smokes, whatever. I mean, some people do that, but we have really this great image of someone who's smoking, lonely, right? I mean, there are some great images too.
Yeah, I think I'm just worried the viewer's going to be thinking like, is the lollipop pleasing me or am I pleasing the lollipop? What's going on here?
Yeah. No,
So yeah, you want to talk about? So you just started the new contract, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, rapid growth or progression from not even a little ago, a year
Yeah.
ago. You kind of had it started, right? But now you're actually working on the first project.
Yeah. When we started this, once again, there was like this 3 to 6 month period of like, I don't know what we're doing. I know like kind of what this is. And then like constantly reinventing and changing our narrative. And this client of ours, we started talking to them. And after a long period of time, it was like, we should do business together. That contract was really, that was like pay to play. Like we undervalued ourselves immensely. And we knew that we were doing that. We didn't know how much we were going to do that. But typically when a company starts out, you're chasing sales and you're trying to just grow financially. And then over time you get to be at a point of maybe like some type of authority. And we went the complete opposite direction. Whereas like, what is the first thing that we did as a company interacting with other things? We set up a contract with a local college. No money involved, just I want to help you. I think that this is a good talking point for us. And I think that this is something that is going to grow into a meaningful relationship. And holy cow, has it done that. Working with this dealer, with school buses, we've spoken at so many conferences where we're now one of the very few trusted entities in the state. I talk to people in the utilities. I get to talk to VPs and CEOs and presidents on a regular basis. And normally, in order to get into that position, like you've been playing the game for a really long time, and we kind of like got shot out of the cannon into this position. And a lot of that was really just doing tons of research and really doing our homework to make sure like, I know how to speak on these things. I know what these things are. I know what's important. I know what's not important. And all of that kind of just paid off where it was, we're at this point, we're either going to like expand and do so much more or we're not. And part of that was, a lot of that really just came down to understanding what the scope of a lot of these engagements are. And it's like, I can't give you 20% of my time and I can't give you another 20% of my time, like I'm going to end up giving you 115 and I'm going to give you 115 and I'm not going to sleep and I'm going to have a drug problem. This isn't going to work.
Yeah.
So, you know, we pretty much like were at a point as a company where we had to sit down with a client and say, we want you to be our only client right now. I think that what your needs are going to take up all of my bandwidth. And this is one of those things where we're going to work together. I think this is beneficial, certainly for us. I think that this is more beneficial for you. And financially, looking at what my business partner and I are worth in the market, we still were taking a pay cut. The first contract that we signed was a 40% discount off of what we originally wanted, which was still less than what we wanted. This was like a 20% discount off of what we agreed would be the lowest number that we would accept.
Yeah.
So we're still in a very special area where we're not like this giant company. But if I told you the numbers from like going from 0 to this other number in the span of 1 year, and then listing all of the things that we've done and accomplished, all the accolades, I think we're doing amazing.
Yeah.
You know? And so like this upcoming year, like I don't know what that's going to look like. It's probably a dumpster on fire.
Yeah.
But like it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that also just goes back to what you were saying, though. You know, you're not really having an expectation that applies to more than like specifically a destination. Sometimes it's a financial figure because the experience and the things you'll be gaining and garnering in that area are fucking way more valuable than a dollar figure, right? And that's there's something to be said about that. Of course, you got to know what you're getting into, but I think what you were saying about the efforts and the energy you can give, you learn that outside of your business relationships. I'm sure you learn it in romantic relationships. You learn it in friendships. You know, there's all these other elements of your personal life that contribute to the understanding of how to, you know, leverage yourself and to actually be effective and efficient for the people you're going to be, you know, contracting for, working with, you know, building these relationships with. And it's, I think, incredibly valuable for, you know, listeners out there to know that your life experience outside of even the business things can largely contribute, and your perspective can be incredibly useful and practical. You know, you don't have to necessarily go fucking do a PhD program, master's program, school, whatever. Like, you can learn in all these situations in life, and especially now with the internet. I mean, you can learn so much.
Yeah. And speaking on what you just said, I guarantee you that one of the best outcomes of me like going down this deep dive, like putting everything into this crazy journey, is relationships. I feel like my friendships are stronger than they've ever been. I think that I value them on a completely different level than I ever have. And I think romantically, like as a partner, I have so much more to give and offer.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
And it's not just money either.
Yeah.
That's a good thing though.
No,
But-
I totally did. I totally understand.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I had a brief interaction with, you know, a girl I cared about, and I had this similar sensations of like, wow, there's because you always, you know, love comes and goes, and you're always, after it's gone, you're like, oh, will it come again? What shape will it take? And I was very excited to see the maturity and still the depth, even deeper than I thought it was before. You know, same with friendships, like the meaningfulness, actually be able to listen and engage from a place of like even deeper authenticity. Not to say I was inauthentic before, but it feels more authentic, more like myself, more in line with my values. And people see that and people can sense it, and you know, they appreciate it. So it's awesome. I totally hear what you're saying. I mean, the fact that we can do this again after all this time's elapsed is huge. You know, it's huge.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I was just looking at this thing. I don't know why your mic is picking up everything. But I'll fix it afterward.
Worst comes to worst, we'll do another one.
I thought we don't edit. I thought we were raw and filtered here.
I don't know what the fuck's going on, but
I want to do a podcast on relationships.
Oh my god.
oh shit, we've done it, dude. Relationship and dating, those two things. Divorce, we've done divorce.
Yeah, we were going to actually talk about
Actually, we talked
negative
about doing it
aspects of
today.
relations. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, he wanted to do like danger of relations.
Yeah. Just speaking about what you're potentially risking by being in a relation
Yeah.
in an unhealthy aspect, and just kind of highlight.
Is that what the kids are calling them now? Relations?
Dude, I have no idea. I don't know what to call them.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
That's probably right, though.
In general, I guess, romantic relationship or
Business.
employer,
Friendships.
multiple relationships.
Basically, a relation with anything, even the fucking lollipops.
I'm sure there are a lot of specifics, but also there are some like general ideas about those different relationships, right?
Yeah.
I think authenticity is a great example. I think, right? In any relationship, if you're not authentic, then you're missing out a lot, and possibly you're ruining the relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
But hey, yeah, we can talk about it now, actually, if you want.
Yeah, I would say the thing you run the risk of being inauthentic. And don't get me wrong, people out there, like, being inauthentic so you can actually learn what authenticity is. Like, it sucks that you have to hurt others, yourself, and blah, blah, blah. But sometimes that's actually, I don't know if you can actually ever skip over the part of being inauthentic, right? I think that's like part of the learning and the progression.
Yeah.
Some people handle it better,
Mhm.
less egregiously. Other people handle it very poorly, like fucking burn the house down type shit. But even in inauthentic relationships, you can learn a lot. So if you're somebody in an authentic relationship, whether it's you're enabling your partner or your partner is enabling you, there's still value that can be had. It's just taking the initiative to try and find out why is it this way.
Right. I mean, it's not to say that you should actively go into this, toxic relationships, but you can certainly learn and should be able to distinguish between, authentic, inauthentic people, right?
Yeah.
I think that's probably a big one.
Yeah.
going into-
I think you get that over time too.
Yeah.
You date enough people or have relations with companies, blah blah blah, etc., to realize, like you got some shit you got to work on.
Yeah.
And
And if a manager comes to you on your review that, you've done a great job, and realize that you're getting less, paid way less than your peers, like you're getting fucked over, right?
Happens.
So you should be able to like see those things, but I mean, that's I guess too specifics when it comes to job or anything else, but
Yeah. No, I connect with that statement about like authentic and authentic.
yeah,
Because like I'm very, very present now to like the authenticity and the inauthenticity of like engaging with another person, where it's like, shit, like I don't want to be that person that's inauthentic. I don't want to lead somebody on. I don't want to create something that isn't true. You don't want to build things like expectations on stuff that you can't fulfill on. So
you want to be real with people,
yeah.
and it's hard because I think this is the difficult thing, because even in a relationship, somebody can tell you that going into it, or you're going on a date. They can say all the right words because people know what the words are to say. But do you see it in their actions? Do you actually see it in their personal interactions and the way they carry themselves? And that's really where you kind of like the fucking, the feet meet the road, or what's the expression? Like the proof's in the pudding, I guess, essentially.
yeah,
But even many times where I've talked to somebody, it's like they could say my attitude or my disposition to things is kind of like this fuckboy kind of like mindset, because unfortunately a lot of people do take on this kind of like no expectations, but they don't have expectations because they're coming from a very, I think, negative place where they don't want to have responsibility.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't have expectations, but I have responsibility. You know what I mean? Like, there's a strong responsibility to myself and other people and then no expectations is after
Yeah.
that. But I still owe it to the person I'm engaging with to be transparent, honest, understanding, empathetic, kind, not
Yeah.
only to them but to myself.
Right.
Other people on the other hand, I've seen it. We've all been in relationships or engaged with people like that where they say those things, but you're fucking super rude to me. You're not listening, or you don't treat yourself right. You're abusive. Those are just words. You know what I mean? So it's so hard because even the right words are not indicative of the behavior.
Yeah, I mean, those things, especially like dating, right? Like, I fucking hate that question. Like, oh, what are you looking for? Like, I don't know. Like, yes, I have few things in mind, but like, I don't know you, so I can make any decision. You know what I mean? Like, even if I said, I'm looking for a relationship, I don't know you. I'm not gonna be in a relationship with you. You know what I mean? Like, so I always tell them that. Well, I mean, I don't have any expectation, but I like to know you first. Then I can make a better decision.
Yeah.
If you're a fucking hot girl and fucking idiot, I can have any conversation with. Yeah, I'm gonna hook up with you probably multiple times. That's it. I'm not gonna be in a
Yeah,
relationship
but you'll
with
be
you.
transparent about it.
Yes, exactly. Why is that so wrong? Why is that so wrong to have multiple? Let's call it expectation because that's what they like, right? Why is it wrong to have multiple expectations at first, right? Because I don't have any information about you.
Yeah.
Especially all the bios are fucking. Let's not go in there, but
Yeah, I learned my lesson very quickly with those. It was like, okay, digital does not mix well with analog. Yeah.
half of them are just lies anyway. I love outdoors, but nobody goes outdoor, and I love sushi, and they don't even know what good sushi is. I love reading, nobody reads.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
And again, it's the thing we talk about. It's this conceptual understanding of the world and the way we communicate versus the experiential, right?
Yeah.
And it's almost impossible, even with our language, to adequately convey what we mean. There's another expression that the greatest failure of communication is the appearance that it occurred.
Oh,
Something along those lines.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Oh, I think you understood what I said. You think you understood what I said. We didn't understand each other at all.
Very dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Because as soon as you have that thought that, I think I've understood you, meaning that you're going to make certain assumptions based on it from now on, right? So there can be more dangerous than actually not understanding that person, which kind of puts you in a position where, I think I need to listen to more carefully, right? Completely different attitudes.
Yeah, which I also think kind of gives more credit to be totally in the moment and realize this person can be new in this very moment. Which is hard because we want to use like our past experiences to kind of like rationalize what can occur in the future, but there's no real relationship with what will occur in the future. Like it's not guaranteed, is what I'm saying. But it's so easy to say like, well, they did this before, so they're going to do this again. It gets dangerous on both sides, whether it's a negative thing you're thinking they're going to do, or the right thing. Which is why it's just great to meet people, even people you love and know, moment to moment. Just be open to it.
Yeah.
Like, that's super cool because then you don't usually get hurt. You just kind of like, oh, okay, take it as it is.
Yeah.
You gotta get hurt though. You gotta get hurt.
Well, at the same time, none of us
We're all single.
has been in a relationship in the past year or so. Have you actually? I haven't asked you.
So after the big one, I took probably about a year off.
Okay.
I did a little bit of online talking to people, which was a complete disaster.
Yeah.
Which I agree. When there's no inflection there.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, you can read the same text message 8 different ways, and it's 8 different people, and it's like, well, I wrote it this really cheeky, sexy way, and you read it like Morgan Freeman at the dentist's office. I mean, like,
Exactly.
there's no way for me to win with that. So like I was like, this doesn't work. And then I got out there in real life, and I thought that I had really good communication, and I thought that I communicated with this person like, I'm not in a space to be committed to anything. And that's like such like a fuckboy comment. And I totally understand, like in retrospect, the way that she perceived, because my actions and what I was saying, I was brutally honest. I was 100% authentic to a T with everything that I said. And my actions were primarily aligned with that, but they also communicated that I was looking for more. And I was. That was the thing. Like, I wasn't authentic with myself. So that didn't work. And then I engaged in like another relationship where that was like, I can see that there's like feelings and emotions occurring here that I don't want to help grow.
Yeah.
And part of that was like, I'm not ready. And the other part was I was in a place where it was like, there's no way for anybody to win with me. I'm never going to create that vulnerability again. So anybody that I'm in a room with, that I'm engaged with, you've already lost, and I'm going to break your heart. And I've had my heart broken, and I don't want to break your heart, so I should just end this right now.
Yeah.
And so, like, really unhealthy place to be dating with people. But I got that. And thankfully, like, you know, between travel, between therapy, which is amazing, because when I was doing like tons of personal development, I poo-pooed therapy. I was like, you don't need therapy, you just need more personal development. And then like I go to therapy, and in my first session, this woman makes like a statement that was like, oh my God. Okay, like you nailed that, you know? So it's just been like a lot of time really focused on myself, like being at peace with my, I don't know, just me.
Yeah.
I've never really, you know, like there's that cliche statement, like you got to love yourself before you can love.
So fucking true, though.
It's so true, you know? I've never been more comfortable with who I am and what I'm up to. I've never valued my time as much as I have. And I'm really, really intentional with where I put it at this point. So for me, like also having been in like a very long relationship and then coming out, I feel like the Iceman unthawing. Like now there's, you know, your cell phones and like there's these new terms and all these things. And it's like, you know, monogamy and non-monogamy and poly, and it's like, whoa, Jesus. But I don't know. To me, like, I think like everything boils down to like an authentic connection with somebody, or you meet somebody and you're like, I'm genuinely excited to share myself with this person. I want to know more about this person. That's like that's it. And then from there you build on it. It's like, I need to make sure that I'm doing everything in my power to communicate myself authentically, to make sure that like I'm reading you and hopefully you're communicating yourself authentically with me, and just doing the work.
Man. I mean, there's something.
Ladies, what Josh is saying is that he is available.
Yes, I totally feel you. For me, it's about making deeply meaningful connections with people. And yeah, if romance is on the docket, then I'm more than happy to engage in that, like authentically, completely in it. But it's just not on the docket with most people. And that's okay too. But we can also still have something that's cool and different. Maybe it's just friendship. Maybe it's just acquaintances. But wow, we can just show up and be real with each other. You know, maybe it's only one time in a city for drinks or dinner. But we had an honest conversation and we like shared our experiences and where we are in life. I think people find a lot of deep satisfaction from just having those honest conversations, because they're so far and few between unless you have a good community in your life of good friends and great people, you know? So I've never ever felt upset about doing that. Even if it's like misunderstood or misperceived at times, like that's the risk you run of being authentic, is being misunderstood too. So
I think also like the thing that makes you, whatever it is, that call and response with like the fabric of space time, quantum string theory, whatnot, for like whether it's business or health or all these things, like when you hit or like surround yourself with positivity, happiness, really good things, it draws and it pulls more of that in. You know, if it's like we all know the statement where it's, you know, like as soon as you get involved in a relationship with somebody, like everybody comes out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
Yep. They just do. They're like, this is or like something really good happens in your life and people just start popping out of nowhere. And it's like, oh, he's doing really well. Let's go shit on his life. Let's fuck that up.
Yeah.
You know? And that's the trick. The trick is that when you're lonely, when you're yearning, when you want that connection and you don't have it, that is like the call to arms to work on yourself.
Yeah.
That's like, don't go out there, don't seek something, get comfy in this moment, be with yourself, be calm, be still, grow your friendships, grow yourself. And then as you do that, it's not, you stop, like, ideally, there isn't that rush or that need to go out and find that thing that completes you. Because you realize that I'm not incomplete. I'm complete. I'm looking for something to complement me.
Yeah.
And that's like, typically, when you're in that great space, the compliment shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this comes from the problem of trying to understand the universe through the external rather than the internal. The internal, you know? Everything, even externally, is just this, magnified outwards, right? We're all processing it. But if you always, like, grab things that are outside here and then try to make them work for in here, it's never, ever going to work. It's never going to fit.
Yeah.
You know, we're doing it backwards. Even like our values, everything of that nature, we grab it from the world and we say, this is it. This is it.
Yeah.
But we never build it for ourselves. And so it can never fit into that box.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's love, it's morals, it's any number of factors. And so, again, like you're saying, it's just super important to be authentic, you know? And in those moments where you want to mask maybe the realization you don't have it all together, maybe this is an addiction, you know, maybe you need somebody to kind of fill the void and give an external validation to your internal. But that shit only works so long. And don't get me wrong, it's fucking awesome in the moments it's working, but what happens when they're not around? What happens when you're alone with your thoughts?
Yeah.
You know, are you just reaching for the next thing to like validate you? Or does the validation come from the inside? Because when it comes from the inside, you become like a benefit to everybody's life. And you can also understand them as something external and not your responsibility entirely, right? Like, they're their own person. They have their own internal dialogue and things they're going through. Like, you got to be respectful and mindful and understanding, empathetic towards it, but it's theirs. So you can also appreciate, because you know yours is theirs. It's like incredibly complex. And crazy as well. And you have a deep appreciation and understanding. Like, even if you can't understand how they're doing it, the internal thing, you can respect it, because goddamn, that's a fucking process. And it's hard, and it's awesome, and it's challenging, and it's wonderful, and you're just happy that somebody can like do it. And you want people to do it for themselves because you've been doing it and you continually do it. You know?
Yeah, 100% agree. You guys described it perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah, we did, boy.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I want, just one thing I like to add is that, you know, a lot of us really don't know ourselves, you know? So I think it, you know, whether or not you just broke up, whatever the situation, you know, try to understand your values, you know? Are you doing your job because you really think that the money is important? Why the money is important for you, right? I mean, are you with, you know, or do you go to church because why? Why you're religious in the first place? Think about it, right? A lot of those places, things actually go back to one place where we're just told to, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's important to reevaluate your core values even and learn about yourself, right? I mean, understanding of yourself fully is like prerequisite for going to the next level in life, right? Without it, you're not really proceeding at all, you know, because you're going to always come back to this, always.
Yeah.
There's a reason people keep, never break the chains of addiction. Just it's like this cyclical thing. Because you never really like solve the root dilemma,
Yeah.
you know?
And in my opinion, well, even if you break it, right? I think not the nature of addiction, but the presence of addiction doesn't necessarily mean that it is due to the lack of understanding of yourself, right? I mean, I think it could be active choice.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's
Just
so
put
many
it out
varying
there,
levels.
just because it's possible.
Yes, totally. Don't want to dismiss that.
Every addiction of mine has been actively chosen. I will say this. I think a lot of all of this falls into this conversation that we all engage with, I think almost everywhere in our lives, which is like never settle. Like settling in your professional life, settling in your personal life, in your relationships, in your friendships, in the things that you buy.
Yeah.
Settling is the death of the soul.
Yeah.
It's like chase happiness. Okay, I'm going to chase happiness. And at some point, this is either going to achieve what I want or it's not. And then what do you do then at that point? You say this dirty word, you settle. And it's like, no, there's an alternative to that. And I think like that's the thing, you know, where like people, they get complacent in certain tracks, ideologies, beliefs, habits, because they know what they want and they have the fear of not getting it. And so there's the agreement to kind of coast in between those two things, you know? And that's just awful.
Yeah, I think your life will give you indicators because some beliefs, ideas, ideologies are super valuable to hold.
Yeah.
And they might be good for a year, a season, a week, or a duration of time. But when they stop serving you, you know, maybe you start seeing like the negative byproducts of holding those ideologies. You know, maybe it's time to reevaluate again this continual process of searching, asking, going back. And you got to discard some things. I discarded Christianity a long time ago, and I'm thankful for it. Do I hate Christians? No. Do I hate the ideology? Fucking absolutely.
You monster.
Yeah, I know. Talk about it. Going straight to hell. I can't wait.
Well, Jew. Jew.
You killed him. You know that?
I think, you know, one of the indications that like you're actually actively, like you're saying, not settling is that whether or not you're open-minded, right? When you're settled or actively choose to settle, then you're kind of closed-minded, right? You're not open to new ideas, and you're not open to new like opportunities, right? That's what we said, like, you know, truth is a moving target, right? So it can change, you know? I'm not saying that just be really weak with your ideas. That's not what we're saying, but, you know, just understand that it can change, you know?
Yeah.
Be more open to new things, you know? Try it. If you don't like it, that's fine, you know? But don't close up and don't be a frog in the pond, we say all the time, right?
People are also under the illusion that, you know, my value of honesty isn't touched by my value of romance. Or they're all like separate boxes and they don't touch each other. Dude, all these things fucking feed into each other.
Yeah, nothing exists in a vacuum.
No, at all. So, you know, I think that's also kind of the problem why we run into such disagreements is that we are trying to make them fit in that very specific way. But in reality, they never play out that way. Like, it's never as easy as like a black and white thing. You know, it's never easy as like a simple lie. There's so many things that go into that. Or you know what I mean? Like, or being honest with yourself or being hardworking. There's so many different areas and avenues where those things apply. And they touch everything.
Yeah.
So by being open-minded, you know, you're not necessarily changing your value of, you know, truth, so to speak. You're just giving more room for it to be what it is. You're being more inclusive of what it can represent.
Yeah, well, so
How it
you
can
can
be
challenge
represented.
your ideas too.
Yeah.
Just being open, right?
Yeah.
Because we talk about this all the time. Like the problem with today's social media and the internet is that a lot of people get isolated. It doesn't get challenged, so they believe that that's the thing, right?
Yeah. It also, I mean, like, I have definitely gone down rabbit holes and had, you know, like thought patterns that I look back at and I'm like, man, they got you. Like you were in the right mindset to just get got, and you got
Yeah.
you know?
It's effective. That's the whole.
It's effective. It's a thing.
Yeah.
So like you have to be like malleable. You have to like question what things are and what aren't, and constantly take stock in these.
I mean, if anything, if your values are that strong, by challenging them, it's going to be more strong. You know.
It's like a wellspring. You can be deeper, man. Deeper,
Yeah.
deeper, deeper. And also, it's a great way to see who your friends and loved ones are and the important people in your life. Because if they can only accept you when you're this fucking square or whatever shape you are, I don't know. I mean, maybe you keep them in a capacity of your life, but maybe they're not the people you want to be spending all your time with or hanging out with. I know I wouldn't. I would not want to maintain relationships where I have to be the same person I was last year. Like,
I think that, you know, the people sitting at this table right now are not those types of people.
no, I mean, even from the last time we had our conversation, we're different.
Yeah, we're
It's
totally
fucking
different.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Do you have any near future goals, relationship or business or something important to share?
I think this year was a series of events leading up to now that would have never been possible before unless absolute disruptive tragedy occurred in my life. Would have never, like, this would not be me right now.
Yeah.
And I'm very present to that. So when I look at this upcoming year, I can paint like a very rosy picture of like my business is going to do these things and I'm going to get to do these certain things and I'm going to meet somebody fantastic and all of these wonderful things are going to occur and I'll find that dog on the side of the road that just forces me to get the puppy and he's going to like cuddle and it's going to be great and they won't shed a lot, you know. But also I've learned on this journey that the bad isn't, you know, always the bad. It's the Chinese farmer's son, or, you know, everybody has, like, they change it to their own thing, but like you just don't know what things are and what they're going to produce.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like I've done a lot of work. Doors are open that would have never been open before. I get to walk through those doors, which is amazing and awesome. And I'm excited for like what the next doors are going to be. Like, I don't know. No idea. This year, next year could be, you know, so wildly different.
We'll follow with interview 3 then.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sure. Yeah. No, I was going to say this is the last time.
This is the last time. Done talking to this nut.
I'm sorry, dude. I don't know if anybody's told you, but I'm going to need a drink after this now. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, but thank you for doing this, man. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I would do this every week. I just
Dude, totally.
talking to you
Yeah,
guys.
Like,
If you're here,
if we move
Do
up
this,
here, we'll make it
yeah.
happen.
Do it seriously.
It'll be a blast.
Yeah.
We'll just keep it going. This is all about enjoying and sharing ideas and
Yeah.
showing what conversation can look like.
Yeah.
And
So we're in
my
Troy, by
portion-
the way. I don't know if we did we mention that?
We're in Troy, New York. We mentioned it a couple episodes ago.
Okay. So
But we're still,
yeah, this is a potential spot for us. So yeah.
might be moving here again. Fucking love this place. But we're flying back to Phoenix tomorrow, so I guess tune in next week.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, man. Good
All right,
week,
thanks.
guys. Bye.